How's it going? Cody here. Today I'm going to be doing another machine review. If you see my face before, you may remember around 9 months ago I actually did a review on the Mast Fold Pro Year of the Snake Edition. Since then, a lot has gone on. I've actually moved provinces. I recently just opened my own little studio in Brantford, Ontario. You know, if you're in the area, come stop by. But yeah, since then, Dragonhawk has actually reached out to me and they sent me the Mast Racer Pro Armored Edition. Super thankful for that. Thank you, by the way, Dragonhawk. And same setup as last video. I'm going to be doing an unboxing. We're going to go over all of the specs and features, as well as some tattooing, because I mean the best way to test out a tattoo machine is to do a tattoo with it. And also, I just want to clarify that although Dragonhawk sent me this machine, they did specify that they want an honest review. So this is going to be completely unbiased. I do really appreciate that they mentioned that. I don't like when companies are like, I'm going to send you this, but make sure you say good things. Like, they want a completely honest review, which I appreciate. I love the transparency. They're really great to deal with. Also, I do have a discount code. It's Kodu Tattoo. So if you're going to buy anything off of Dragonhawk, whether it's this machine or some needles or another machine, use my code, you'll get 10% off. It also helps me out a ton. This is the first machine they sent me, so if this video does well, hopefully there's more to come in the future. I appreciate the support. But anyway, let's just get into opening this thing. I want to say the box is huge. This is definitely the biggest Mast box I've received. Okay, I'm just going to slowly slide the top open. I do know that the box looks like a transformer. You'll see what I mean in a sec. Yeah, there we go. That looks sick as fuck. All right, let me pull this out. Again, I have no experience with this machine. We're just gonna kind of figure out how it works together. Like I said, the box literally looks like a transformer. And let's just open it real quick. Look at that. I gotta say, the presentation on this thing is insane. They really went all out. I'm gonna include some quick close-up shots because, like I said, it really is a beautiful machine. They really went all out with the packaging and everything. Without further ado though, I'm gonna put my camera probably over top and we're just gonna really get into everything here. You have your machine. I have no idea what's in here. I'm assuming like an instruction manual, maybe some stickers. I'm gonna assume there's some, like an extra battery and a USB-C port in here. Yeah, USB-C. 2 USB-Cs, just like the last machine. I love how they give you 2, just in case you lose one. It's always great to have. And this, I'm assuming, is another battery. Normally they give you 2 batteries, but I could be wrong. Yes, an extra battery and a little silica packet. So we got a battery. Actually, this looks like a battery charger. Yes, it's a battery charger. Does it just screw on? I hope oh, no. Oh, okay, it's just, yeah, you just click it in like that. Cool. I also believe that the battery is in the handle, which I'm excited to check out. And what else do we have? Just a little Allen key, some O-rings. Yeah, it looks like O-rings. Cool. I am curious to see what's in here. Like I said, I would assume it's an instruction manual. This machine has a lot of super cool features that I'm excited to get into. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there we go. Look at all that. Beautiful. I'm gonna get into that in a sec. Assuming, oh yes, I'm gonna get into that in a sec as well. Just like the last machine, they gave me some stickers. I appreciate that. I'm gonna throw it on my tool chest. But yeah, for the main attraction, let's just get into this machine. Get rid of this. Boom. Boom. So here it is in all of its glory. The Mast Racer Pro Armor Edition. The coolest thing about this machine is it has a Hertz mode. I believe that's what this little piece of paper is actually, just like a rough conversion of volts to Hertz. And I'm gonna explain what that means right now. So Hertz is probably the future of tattooing. I remember I first heard of Hertz being used on a tattoo machine when I was watching the release for the Vlad Avenger 3 Pro. I don't know if they're the first brand to do it. That's just the first time I've seen it. And ever since then, more and more machines have been introducing a hertz system, whether they only run in hertz or they have a dual option. This machine, you can actually run both volts and hertz. So if hertz weird you out, you do have the option to use volts, but I would actually kind of encourage that you at least try out the hertz. It's just a lot more accurate. Like, think of it this way. Volts is just the power being sent to your machine, whereas hertz is the frequency. So, for example, 1 hertz would be 1 needle repetition, and that's per second. So 1 hertz, the needle comes out once per second. If you were to run your machine on 90 hertz, that's going to be 90 needle repetitions per second. Whereas when you're using volts, especially when it comes to comparing tattoo machines, it's just not as accurate because every machine's built differently, every motor is different. So if you were to run 8 volts on 2 different tattoo machines, the actual amount of times the needle is coming out of the machine it's going to be completely different, just depending on the motor. Whereas hertz, it's universal. It's just 90 hertz, 90 needle repetitions, 120 hertz, 120 needle repetitions. It's just a lot more accurate. It's very useful when you're comparing tattoo machines. I've never used a machine with hertz. I'm really excited to try it out. But that, at least to my understanding, that's how it works. You're welcome to look more into it. I'm gonna quickly look at this instruction manual, but I'm assuming to turn it on, you just want to hold down the power button. Yes, look at that sexy display. So it's actually in volt mode right now. So let me just, there we go. So you double click to put it to hertz. Yeah, just as I suspected, this is just like a rough comparison for volts to hertz. As I said, it can't be exact because that just very much depends on the motor and the machine. For example, though, right here I see 11 14 round liner. Typically you would line those with 8 to 10 volts. And then you come down here, I see 7, 9, 11, 14 round liner. You would want to use 80 to 120 hertz. So if you did want to dabble around with the hertz, they have like a rough comparison, which is super helpful. I personally line with round shaders, so I'm assuming I'd want to stay within the 100 to 120 hertz range, but we'll find out later when I tattoo. It is also worth mentioning that this machine runs on a 4.2 millimeter stroke, so it's going to be hitting really hard. However, there is also hit adjustment on this. So I don't know if you can see at the bottom there, but it should say soft, medium, and hard. And I'm assuming I just hit these side buttons. Yeah, so you just hit these buttons on the side to cycle through. So right now I'm going to put it to a soft hit. So if you combine the stroke length with the hertz mode and the hit adjustment, it really does just make this a really versatile machine. I can't think of a style you couldn't do with this besides maybe like soft realism. But I mean, if you guys are doing soft realism with this thing, let me know. I think that's really awesome. I've always wanted the Racer Pro. I was actually debating between buying the Fold Pro and the Racer Pro. I just went with the Fold Pro because of the adjustable stroke. So I'm super happy that they sent me this machine. I've always wanted a Racer Pro. So yeah, this is the battery, and I'm assuming you just pop it out. Oh, look at that. So, sorry guys, I wasn't expecting this. This right here is the plunger bar. So if you're really anal about cleaning your machine, that's actually really nice. A lot of Mast machines, I've heard people complain that you can't fully clean them. And I mentioned it in my last machine review. Like a lot of cartridge needles have safety barriers now. So you don't really need to worry about taking your whole machine apart as long as you're really cleaning the inside. But this does just really allow you to fully clean. Like even if you want to get a little like tool and get in there, you can. You can clean the plunger bar. Like this is actually a really nice feature. I know that a lot of people have been wanting something like this from Mast. So that's nice, a lot easier to clean. I would probably get rid of some of this lubricant if you're going to be cleaning it. Let me just wipe that off. Yeah, that's really cool. Sorry, I didn't expect that. I've never actually seen the plunger bar on a Mast tattoo machine. Maybe there are other machines offer this. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, so this is just the battery. It goes inside the grip, which keeps things nice and compact. So I'm just gonna slide this back on. Boom, there we go. You can see the little plunger bar in there. Let's turn this thing on. Oh, long hold to turn it on and off. Nice. Cool, let's put the grip back on. Oh, I keep accidentally turning it on. There we go. I do like the click when you're turning the grip. That's always nice. I don't really think there's much else to go over here. We got the battery, the cords. I'm just gonna quickly go through this instruction manual just to see if there's anything that I missed. And if there is, then we'll go over it. Actually, that is probably something worth mentioning. Sorry guys, I don't really have a script for these videos. I just like being as genuine as possible and just experiencing everything in real time with you. But the battery, it's a 1,520 milliamp hour battery, and it charges super quick. I believe I read that 5 minutes of charging gets you an hour of tattooing, which is insane, and I believe it's like 40 minutes for a full charge. So if your battery dies, plug it in for 5 minutes, it gives you an extra hour. That probably shouldn't be an issue considering you literally get 2 batteries, but if you forget to charge one, it's nice to know that at least it's a super quick charge time. But without further ado, I think I covered everything there is to cover. I'm gonna actually do a tattoo with this thing, and let's just go do that. Roll the footage. Alright guys, we're about to start the tattoo. Last time I did a voiceover. I think I'm just gonna do some live commentary this time. Switch it up. One thing I did notice is that the machine is really thick, so you might need to use a machine bag, or if you have a really wide clipboard sleeve. But just keep note of that. Make sure it's wrapped properly and you can still adjust everything. I am going to be using the WJX cartridges that they sent me as well. I've dabbled with them a little bit, and I gotta say I do really like them. They're really sharp, they hold ink really well. I will be doing a separate review for those. Got the first line. Nice. First line complete, how do you feel?
Is my skin still as squishy as you remember?
Your skin's still squishy.
Great.
Stretchy, healthy.
Feels like a tattoo to me.
Running 110 hertz. Using a 9 round shader. Just go do this line. Boom. By the way, we're doing this like super sick traditional fortune teller. Let's see how that line turned out. Might just touch up that. Alright, that line was pretty clean. I did lose a little bit of saturation here, so I put it up to 115 hertz. I'm going to slow down my hand a little bit. I am using it on the hardest hit as well. Okay, I do like to do my lines really quickly, so I just bumped it up to 120 hertz. So I'm just going to see how this goes. Move a little faster. Just remember, if you're gonna run high voltages, high amount of hertz, you have to move your hands so you're not chewing up the skin. There we go. I think 120 is for me. I'm used to running my machines really high. I'm not too surprised. Alright, I just did a lot of line work with a 9-round shader. I'm going to switch it over to a 7 just for the smaller lines in her face. I want to keep it a little bit more delicate. So far, I mean, there's been a little bit of resistance, but that's to be expected with round shaders. All the line work has turned out pretty sharp. It wasn't really struggling to get it into the skin. And for reference, this client has extremely healthy and bouncy skin. Every single time I tattoo you, the needle just likes to bounce and bounce and bounce. So it penetrated pretty easily. I'm pretty impressed.
Moisturize, guys. Moisturization is the key.
Alright, I'm about to shade it. I have a 9 flat mag. I'm running 85 hertz just to see how that goes. I put my hit down to a medium. I feel like we don't need to be on the hardest hit for the shading, but we'll see. I can always change it. So I'm going to do the first stroke. Just an update, I did end up moving the hit up back to a hard hit. I just found it's a lot easier to get the look that I'm going for. Keep in mind I am doing traditional, so a lot of traditional is done with coil machines, like 4.5 millimeter stroke machines. I think I just wanted to start off with a softer hit just to feel out the machine, but ultimately it is better to just have the shading done single pass as opposed to when I started over here I kind of went over the same spot over and over again, and as soon as I upped it back to a hard hit, everything went super smoothly, single pass. So it is very dependent on the style. I think if you're doing a lot of like heavy black work and color, maybe keep it on that hard hit. If you're doing more light gray wash, like I said, it might be a 4.2 millimeter stroke, but you can put it to a soft hit, so you could probably do a lot of gray wash work with this machine too. It is really consistent. It feels good so far. I'm gonna finish up this black, and then I'll meet you back at the coloring. Alright, got all the black done. I'm gonna switch over to color, see how the color goes in. Coloring tends to be a little bit thicker, especially since I use a lot of brands like Fusion and Solid Ink. I'm just going to start with these little red stars. I'm not lining the stars, I kind of want them to look like they're done in a different style. I'm just kind of lightly lining the stars with the edge of my mag, and then filling the rest in. It's going to be like a black to red gradient for the stars. Crystal ball is going to be red. I'm going to put a lot of red reflections on her face. I might put the hertz up a little bit for the color. We'll go back to 90. I did end up putting it back down to 80 when I pulled out the 7 mag, just because it was a bit of a smaller needle. Boom. Star number 1 done. So I spent the last couple days doing some tattoos with this machine. We did that traditional fortune teller piece. I also did a couple smaller ones, but I will throw a finished photo of the fortune teller on the screen right now. The machine does perform really well. I had no issue getting that shading look that I was looking for. I did need to use it even on my smaller tattoos. I noticed I like having it on the hard setting. That's very subjective though. It just depends on what type of needle groupings you're using, how you tattoo, how fast you move your hand, the volts or hertz that you're using. Just for me personally, so far I found it easiest to use on the hard setting. I've tried going down to soft and medium. So far it hasn't been for me, but I've only done a couple tattoos. I'm sure the opportunity will come up where I'm doing the gray wash piece and I'll want to turn it down. One thing I noticed was the battery capacity. The tattoo took about 3.5 hours. Normally I'm a little faster. I just wanted to take my time and really feel out the machine. But we started the tattoo at 76% and we ended the tattoo at 10%. And I remember while I was tattooing, I was really worried. I was like, oh, I'm not used to the battery going down this much. Am I overworking the motor? I started asking all these questions. And then I realized that I'm used to using this. If I'm not just like running direct power from a power supply, then I'm using a Fold Pro Year of the Snake Edition. And this thing literally has double the battery capacity. This is a 3,000 milliamp hour battery, whereas this is a 2,500 milliamp. Like I was saying, this is a 2,500 milliamp hour battery, 1,520 milliamp hour battery, whereas this is a 3,000 milliamp hour battery. So literally double the capacity. And like I said previously at the start of the video, it's only 5 minutes and you get an hour out of this thing. 40 minutes, the battery's fully charged. So it's really not a big deal. If you need to swap out the battery, not the end of the world. I do it all the time. I'm gonna end the video here. Like I said at the start of the video, this was a completely honest review. If I had any issues with this machine, I would have stated it during the video. All in all, I like working with Dragonhawk. I've been using the machines for a while. They just have something for everyone. Whether you're starting out and you want a solid budget-friendly machine, over the last couple of years they've been making a lot more high-end machines. They have adjustable stroke machines, fixed stroke machines. I always love buying a new machine from them and messing around with it, and they never disappoint. Just a reminder, I do have a 10% off code CODUTATTOO. I'll leave a link to this machine in the description as well as a link to their website if you want to browse. But that code will work for anything you buy, needles, machines. You get 10% off. It helps me out a ton. I really appreciate it. Thanks again to Dragonhawk for sending me this machine. I'm going to be doing a video reviewing their needles as well. And here's to more videos in the future. Peace out.